Hello and welcome to Analysis with me, Jonathan Steele. Last month, one of Pakistan's best-known journalists narrowly survived assassination by an unknown gunman. GOTV reporter Hamid Mir was the first journalist to interview Osama bin Laden after 9/11. He has often been critical of the Pakistani government and has received countless death threats prior to this latest attack. Mir wasn't the first journalist to face such violence either. According to a report by Amnesty International, more than 30 journalists have been killed since Pakistan restored democratic rule in 2008. Many more have been harassed, arrested, and tortured, with the Pakistani authorities accused of turning a blind eye. So why is violence against journalists on the increase in Pakistan? And who might be behind the attacks, and why? And what might this all mean for the future of democracy in Pakistan? Joining me to discuss this are Murtaza Ali Shah, a reporter for GOTV and the Jang Group, Ajad Javaid, the UK Bureau Chief of the Dunya Media Group, Pakistan, and freelance journalist Hamad Ali. Welcome to you all. But first, let's take a look at this video report.
An attack that has opened up deep divisions between Pakistan's media and its political establishment. The attempted assassination of the talk show host Hamid Mir has sparked a fierce row between the GOTV network and the Pakistani intelligence agency ISI, which GOTV has repeatedly alleged was involved in the attack.
A man covered with a shalwar kameez opened fire first. Another man was following him on a motorbike. He came up behind him. At the same time, the driver who was in Mr. Mir's car along with the guards sped away.
Hamid Mir was shot 6 times as he left the airport in Karachi. Mir was later rushed to a hospital, where he claimed, according to his family, that Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence Agency was behind the attack. His television network immediately repeated the claims and broadcast an image of the chief of the ISI, Lieutenant General Zahir-ul-Islam. Political and government voices roundly criticised this action, calling the accusations baseless. But while these accusations have yet to be proven, the attack is part of an ongoing campaign of killings and intimidation against journalists in Pakistan. Last week, Amnesty International released a report stating that Pakistani journalism was effectively under siege, highlighting the prevalence of insurgent groups like the Taliban through numerous provinces, but also implicating the ISI in several cases of journalist abduction, torture, and killing.
The fact of the matter is, if you want to attack a journalist, you can get away with it. In about half the cases that Amnesty International investigated, police didn't even carry out an initial inquiry. Now, of the 73 cases that we investigated in detail ourselves, the perpetrators were brought to justice in only 2 of those cases. So that's an appalling record of impunity, lack of justice for the culprits.
Since democracy was restored to Pakistan in 2008, 34 journalists have been killed, with only 1 successful persecution during this time and over 6 deaths in 2014 so far. In response to the growing level of attacks, the government of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, seen here visiting David Cameron last week, has pledged to establish a public prosecutor at federal and local level to specifically investigate attacks on journalists. But for many in Pakistan's political class, the claims that GOTV made live on air have poisoned relations. Last weekend, Imran Khan, leader of the populist anti-corruption movement PTI, announced a total boycott by PTI officials of GOTV and its related media outlets.
From now on, I will totally boycott Jung. I will boycott Geo and Jung. All members of my party will not take part in any of their programs until they apologise to us for the damage they've done to democracy.
While this is officially over claims of media bias, many have said this was due to Khan's anger over GOTV's campaign against the ISI. As Hamid Mir recuperates after his near-death experience, the political fallout caused by the unsuccessful attempt on his life, and the many unsuccessful attempts made before and since, continues. Nathaniel Amos Sansom, Islam Channel.
Well, Murtaza, you work for GOTV, where Hamid Mir also works. I mean, why do you think the Pakistani authorities would be behind this attack?
Well, the attack on Hamid Mir literally has rocked Pakistan, and it's been going to be it's more than 2 weeks now, and the only debate that dominates Pakistan until today is the attack on Hamid Mir, and the resultant furore that has erupted in Pakistan. It is not only because that the Hamid Mir is one of the leading anchors in Pakistan, but it is because also of his profile. I mean, no other journalist in Pakistan has, to his or her credit, the kind of stories that Haman Mir gave, and again, because of the influence that the Jung and Geo group exercised within Pakistan's media space. When Haman Mir was attacked, soon after that, Haman Mir, not the Jung and Geo group, but Haman Mir's brother went out, and many of his friends who clearly pointed their fingers at parts of Pakistan's security establishment. And it's not for the first time that Haman Mir was attacked. Haman Mir has been a victim of a character assassination campaign for more than about 5 to 6 years.
Give us a flavour of the kind of stories that he's been doing. You say he's done some very important stories. Can you just summarise some of them?
I mean, Haman Mir is probably the only Pakistani journalist who has covered various conflicts from around the globe like nobody else, including many parts of Middle East, America, Britain. He was the only journalist who interviewed Osama bin Laden after 9/11. Not only, I mean, there are hundreds of stories to his credit within Pakistan. I mean, any politician, anybody who needs to go on the national scene would love to go on his show. I mean, his was the most highly rated in the popular prime time slot that he covered. But also there was another angle that Haman Mir has been covering those sensitive areas which are normally not covered in Pakistan. The issues of human rights, the issues of missing persons, the issue of Balochistan, where a lot of journalists are not, foreign journalists are not allowed to go. And then the issue of Pervez Musharraf, which has literally created a wedge between the current political elected government and Pakistan's security establishment, from which actually Pervez Musharraf comes from, Pakistan Army. And so these were the areas Haman Mir had very clear stance on these issues. For example, again on Balochistan, Pervez Musharraf, and on the rule of law. These were the issues that he highlighted at the national level like no other channel. So he had clearly taken a stance which was not liked by many powerful sections within the government and various security establishments. So he always maintained that he had threats. He gave it in writing to many of his friends, to many journalist unions, and then he gave it in writing through a video message to his brother that if in an event that I am attacked, who will be responsible? Now we don't know whether those people that Haman Mir has or his family has pointed figure at are behind the attack on Haman Mir. But obviously he has some concern, he has his suspicions, and those must be investigated. I must categorically make it clear that it is at this stage not clear whether who actually attacked Haman Mir. There is a commission working on it, and we expect and hope that its findings will be made public soon. It's a powerful commission. But the fact that Haman Mir had these very strong suspicion and he knew that he was going to be attacked, and he has been saying it for such a long time, I mean, makes it very much clear that it's a very, very serious matter, and Haman Mir knew that.
Well, let me ask Ajar about it too. I mean, you work for a different TV station, Dunya TV. Have some of your people also come under threat?
Thank you very much for inviting. First of all, we have to see the history of journalism in last 10 to 12 years in Pakistan. Before around in the start of till 2001 and 2, there were no private channels over there. Then Geo TV was broadcast, then ARY, then it's almost 20-25 news channels in Pakistan now, and they are growing in numbers. But unfortunately, there is no mechanism to control these channels like you have Ofcom here in UK. If you made any mistake, someone can go to Ofcom and make a complaint, and then Ofcom decided whether that error have been done or not. But unfortunately, there is only one institution that called PEMRA, Pakistan Electronic Media Regulatory Authority. But it's under political influences, and it's not effective. Because of, in last 10 to 12 years, because of the growing number of news channels, there are too many problems in journalism in Pakistan. Everyone is saying his point of view. There is character assassinations of people over there. There is mockery of politicians over there, and sometimes the channels go beyond their limits. There should be a certain limits. If you are here in UK, there you also have some certain limits. You can't go beyond that. You have to work under.
You can't shoot journalists because they've gone beyond the limit.
I'm not talking about that.
So surely there's some mechanism for complaint and
yes.
correction.
But, yeah, that's what I'm just telling you. The problem in our journalism, electronic journalism in Pakistan in recent days. The attack on Hamid Mir is condemnable. He's been attacked, but no one knows who attacked him. There were threats from Taliban as well to Hamid Mir because he was working, he supported Malala, and due to Malala, he got threats from Taliban.
Right.
Yeah, that was also a main threat from him. And there were also problems from establishment because he was working on Balochistan issue, the missing persons. But the problem arises when Geo TV broadcasted breaking news, and they blamed the Hamid Mir brother Amir Mir blamed that establishment is behind that, and they broadcasted it for 8 hours by showing ISI chief picture over there, and that 8 hours have done a lot of damage to Pakistan journalism, because this is the main problem when the security establishment, it have given a chance to security establishment to make difference within the journalist community. After this, journalists have been divided. Geo is on one side, and the other journalists are on the other side.
You mean nobody else is supporting Geo at all?
No, people are supporting Hamid Mir.
Right.
But there is, if you see the broadcast in Pakistan, if you watch them, 80% broadcast are against Geo. So it make a very, you can say, unbearable loss to journalism in Pakistan, because it had divided the journalist community. Before that, we were protesting against the killing of our journalist brothers in Pakistan. But after this, everyone is saying that it's not good what happened to Hamid Mir. But on the other side, establishment is using the other people. They are, what you can say, supporting people to protest against one news channel.
I'll bring Hamid in a minute, but let me just come back to you, Murtaza, on this point. We saw Imran Khan in the video clip at the beginning. I mean, he's normally a very anti-corruption, he's very critical of Nawaz Sharif and so on. Why is he, on this occasion, attacking Geo TV? Maybe he has a point, does he?
I will just further a little bit point that Azhar Javed very correctly made that, look, I mean, it is very clear that, you know, after attack on Hamid Mir and Jess, Geo displayed the picture of ISI journal for 8 hours, and that within the group it is felt that just it was probably Geo just you know, went beyond its limit. They should not have shown the picture for that long. But again, Geo did not, they officially did not blame you know, the ISI chief, but it was Hamid Mir's brother who said it, and then Geo has actually made its stance very clear that no, it is not our policy, but it is that we were actually giving ear to somebody else's views, you know, that they had some suspicion. But following that, I mean, there has been literally, you know, the media has been pit against each other. And on the one side is Geo, and then the rest of the channels on the instructions from, you know, various, you know, powerful elements within Pakistan.
You can't say the instructions. You can't say the instructions. No, everyone have their own editorial board. They have you have to decide what your viewership wants. You can't blame any other channel that are on the instruction.
The point about Imran Khan. Imran Khan's a very respected politician.
I'm coming to that, but we know that how these things work, and especially in a country like Pakistan, you know, it's, you know, different news. Because let me tell you what is the issue. The issue is that Geo has, it's the largest channel. Now, every other channel has seen an opportunity in kind of eating away its, you know, eyeballs that Geo controls. So the attack on Geo is not motivated by any ethics or journalistic principles. It is motivated by, you know, that attempt to grab the market. Fine. Now, in the same context, when Imran Khan goes on and announces that, for example, that, okay, he's boycotting Geo and all that, you have to see it in this context that the main, you know, the main leading part is the ruling Muslim League, Pakistan Muslim League of Nawaz Sharif. The previous, you know, Democratic Pakistan People's Party, they have not done that. Many other parties haven't done that. So there are a lot of questions being asked about Imran Khan, his own credibility in boycotting Geo at this stage.
But in 1999, PMLN boycotted Jung Group, and they even make it worse for Jung when Jung was published
that's
just for one page.
No.
You know, in 1998, 99, Jung was reduced to one page. So if you see the history, People's Party also boycotted at one point. People's Party announced that they will not participate in Geo's program. It's in their era.
Let's just move on to 1 minute.
If you let me finish my point.
Yes.
So it is in this context that it is believed that Imran Khan is actually doing it on somebody's instruction. And
Somebody's instruction.
Obviously, because Imran Khan is seen as somebody who on different issues has taken the line which is, towed by, Pakistan's, powerful quarters. It is in that context Imran Khan has done. It is not out of any morality or any ethics or for love for the country.
That's clear, your point. Now, let me bring Hamid Ali in. I mean, do you think that this pledge that Nawaz Sharif made in his visit to Cameron last week, which we showed on the clip also, that there will be a special prosecutor set up and so on, do you find that a really significant move? Will that change things?
I think, firstly, I want to say something about the media in Pakistan, because this program is about, the killing of journalists.
Right.
And this is a very dark side to the Pakistani media, but there is a positive side as well. That since the 90s, until the 90s, there was, as my colleague mentioned, there was only one PTV state channel. Now we have, dozens of news channels. And the kind of coverage they're doing right now is, compare in some areas, like if you compare it with TV in Russia, media in Russia, if you compare it with the Middle East, if you even look at what's happening in American media, where they're not very questioning of power of the military. Papers like New York Times or Washington Post are known for doing self-censorship when it comes to sensitive topics related to, CIA or the military. And in that respect, Pakistani media has progressed, or parts of the media is progressing, where you have, where you can question, what the government policy is, where you can question what the military is doing. But obviously, when you become that bold in a country like Pakistan, that's going to bring a reaction, and that's where all of these, incidents of attacks on journalists are partly taking place, from state elements, from non-state elements. And so what Nawaz Sharif is doing right now is well, one of the theories that's being put forward is that the Nawaz Sharif is, because he's in a kind of conflict with the military right now. And he has a long history of, bad relations with the military, because they removed him from power the previous time he was the prime minister. So there is speculation that he's being supported by, he's supporting part of maybe the Geo group as a kind of tool against the military. There's no evidence for it at the moment. And Imran Khan, what he's doing with his protest against Geo group is, well, you can question the timing of it right now when Hamid...
But this is all more and more conspiracy theories and people are manipulating other people and so on. Surely the point is, if you are a journalist in Pakistan, will you feel a little bit safer if there is some of these people are brought to justice who've done this? I mean, impunity is the issue, isn't it?
Yes. Obviously, because only two of the journalists who were attacked or killed have been, people have been arrested.
Exactly. Now, who's going to change that? And is this thing that Nawaz Sharif has promised to do, is that going to change things?
I don't see hope in the short term, because it's not just a problem with the media. It's a bigger problem of law and order situation in the country, of terrorism, attacks on politicians. We still don't know about the Benazir Bhutto murder, and someone as top, as prominent as that. So it's a bigger issue, and tens of thousands of people have died since this war on terror began. So it kind of, rather than looking at it as a kind of separate to all of that, it's part of the wider security problems in the country.
If you see about the Nawaz Sharif, in recent in this year, one of journalists which was killed in Karachi, Wali Babar, who also belonged to Geo Group, his murders have been sentenced to death. It was especially because the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif cooperated a lot on his instructions. The prosecution helped to bring them into justice. So Nawaz Sharif is committed. But if you see, Many of these journalists have been killed in the tribal areas, in Balochistan, in tribal areas in the northwest front, in KPK, the Pakistan province where Imran Khan's government is ruling. It's more deaths are on that side, and there are Taliban factor as well, because journalists are under siege from all sides. Government is pressurizing, establishment is pressurizing, Taliban is pressurizing, in Balochistan, Baloch rebels, they are pressurizing. So it's really a very difficult time on journalism in Pakistan. But what again I will say, the event of Hamid Mir, it have made cracks into the unity of journalists in Pakistan. And that's the main you can say a setback for the whole community. If you say we are not, if we are divided and we are not able to raise our voice collectively, so it will be a bad thing for us.
More than about being journalists on one page. Even when journalists were united, they were under attack. They will be under attack in the future. The central issue here is the weakness of civilian government in Pakistan. Whether it was the previous government or this government, there is no doubt that Nawaz Sharif is committed fine. I mean, he has obviously, in the case of Wali Babur and at least under the previous government, in the case of Salim Shahzad, actually there were commissions were held, but these were, some very high-profile journalists. Again, in the case of Hamid Mir. Overall, if you look at the picture, as the Amnesty report highlights, journalists are under attack from the political force, state actors, non-state actors, political parties, the groups linked with them, and various, at various local level, the vested interest groups.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We've come to the end of the first half. We can continue this in the second half, particularly on the Amnesty report. So stay with us, and we'll be back to discuss the whole future of journalism in Pakistan and whether or not a civilian government has been able to make any kind of difference.